Let us start here. Yesterday, I have gone through this portion of this vapor compression refrigeration cycle with wet vapor under compression, after compression. इसका मतलब ये है, you see, for TS diagram T and S, and for pH diagram P and H. This is 1 to 2 is our compression uh, compression process, 2 to 3 conduction, and 3 to 4 expansion, and 4 to 1 is evaporation process. So after the refrigerant is entered in the compressor in a gaseous form, and left the compressor in the gaseous form, and then entered into the condenser in gaseous form, and left the condenser in liquid form, and enters the expander or throttling valve in liquid form, and expanded and exit in the liquid form, and entered the evaporator in the liquid form, and in the evaporator is converted into liquid to gas. So in the evaporator, refrigerant, converted from liquid to gas, and from condenser it is converted to gas to liquid. But both these charts shows that the conduction process is a conduction evaporation process is isothermal process, means it is not changing its temperature during this process itself, right? Because it is working only on the latent heat of evaporation and latent heat of conduction itself. So this is problem in the internet. No, again the connection went out, again got, and I'm starting again. So uh, during the process 2 to 3, it is condensing under isothermally, and 4 to 1 is evaporating under isothermally. And from pH diagram, it is clear that 1 to 4 and 2 to 3 evaporating and condensation operation also takes place in constant pressure process. So both condensation and evaporation takes place at constant isothermal and isobaric process itself. And the uh, compression process, which is from 1 to 2, is isentropic process because the entropy is not changing from 1 to 2. And now, so far we have discussed that point 2, or refrigerant at the exit of the compressor, lies on this wet vapor saturation line. And the vapor, I mean the condensed liquid, the liquid refrigerant, when it comes out from the condenser, lies on this wet saturation line. But now we are thinking of a situation where after the compression, the vapor, refrigerant remains vapor to a certain extent. Before the compression, the evaporator is supposed to convert it totally into the vapor itself, in saturated vapor at the point 1, but it cannot do so. So it remains certain amount of vapor still remains inside. Maybe the amount is small, but vapor is still remains inside the, I mean, wet refrigerant, I mean liquid refrigerant remains inside the mixture of refrigerant, or it is defined as the wet refrigerant at the point 1. And even we are at this position, we are seeing that it is remains wet refrigerant even after the compression itself. So the point 2 is not light under vapor saturation compressor saturation vapor line, uh, saturated vapor line, but remains in the wet vapor line. Wet vapor region means it is partly vaporized and partly in liquid form itself. So at the point 1, we had to find out first we have to find out the COP here. Everywhere the COP is the refrigerating effect effect which is 1 to 4, which is H1 minus H4 or H1 minus HF3, because H4 and H3 are the vertical line. It is of same entropy itself. This is not entropy but enthalpy. So H1 minus H4 or H1 minus HF3 divided by H2 minus H1. H2 minus H1 is the amount of work this compressor is doing or amount of heat energy is adding to the refrigerant during the compression process. So here is also same, but we have to find out what is the value of H1, what is the value of H2, what is the value of H3, and what is the value of H4 with our given condition here. It's that here H1 always has at the stage 1, okay. So at the point at stage 1, we have wet vapor refrigerant is in wet vapor situation form, which means certain percent of it, say X1, is the amount of, is the fraction of vapor. Fraction of vapor. At the same time, now here, in earlier, the stage 2 was on the dry saturated line, so it is totally saturated vapor condition. The refrigerant has this totally saturated vapor. But here, refrigerant is on the wet situation. So, same is the case with the stage 2 refrigerant is also on the wet vapor form. And there is another fraction, which to say is the fraction of vapor present in the refrigerant itself. Or certain percent of it is vapor, certain percentage of it is in liquid. So here we have to find out the value of H2 in order to take into account the this vapor fraction in H2 also, as well as H1. So I've started this problem. What is this problem is given is find the theoretical COP of a carbon dioxide machine. Means refrigerant is CO2. Now it is working between the temperature of 25 degree and 5 degrees. So T2 is given as T2 is a high temperature, 25 degrees centigrade plus 273 degrees centigrade is 298 degree Kelvin. And T1 is minus 5 degree, that is T1, which is equal to T2, is equal to the isothermal process during evaporation. And this minus 5 degrees centigrade So again, the same thing is repeated. So T1, which is equal to T4. T1 is the entry temperature of the compressor, and T4 is the entry temperature of the condenser, I mean the evaporator itself, which is equal because because we understood that condensation is an isothermal and isobaric process. So it is minus 5 degrees centigrade minus 5 plus 273 is equal to 268 kilocalvin. Now, another thing what is given, the Reynolds fraction of CO2 gas during this suction process is 0.06. Again, we are repeating. So, but it is the Reynolds fraction of CO2 gas during the suction process is 0.6. So, what is the suction process? Suction stroke during the suction stroke of the 0.6. So, what is the suction stroke? Here, which part of this we have four items here: compressor, condenser, throttling valve, and evaporator itself. And which one of them is making the suction itself? So, what compressor is doing? It is drawing the evaporated, drawing the wet vapor mixture from the evaporator, and then due to suction, and then compressing it to the height. Now, so one is the suction process itself. The compression is have the suction process in between there. So X1 is 0.6, means the amount of the vapor which compressor is receiving at the point 1 is the vapor is the vapor which is at the suction state. So the tide extraction at the point 1 is equal to the 0.6, which is given here. Now, next, what is given in this situation diagram is that is X1 is 0.07, HF3. HF3 is the point here, which is the on the wet vapor saturated line, and as we know, where HF stands for fluid and 3 stands for the point stage. So this is the standing. This point 3 is standing on the wet vapor line here. So we have to find out what is the enthalpy at the temperature 298 degree Kelvin at the point 3, which is given here as enthalpy of the liquid represented as 164.7. So HF1 is the enthalpy at the point, enthalpy of the fluid at the point 1, which is equal to the enthalpy of the fluid at the point 4. So this thing, the HF1 is supposed to be equal to HF3, HF4, but it generally enthalpy of fluid at the same temperature will remain at wet it equal, because at 1 and at 4 it is running at the same temperature. So in the set, which means at the lower temperature. So enthalpy of the fluid liquid at lower temperature is given as enthalpy at lower temperature is given as 72.75 degrees centigrade. So it is given as 72.57 degrees centigrade. So HF3, HF4 is equal to HF1, means it is on the same in the lower temperature line, or it is coming from this, which is intersecting the wet vapor line at this point here. So the enthalpy at this particular point in this figure will be same for both of them, from here to Now, and now SF2, the SF2 entropy of the fluid at the point 2, which is in the entropy stage. Entropy of the fluid at the point 2 is the point 2 here. It is running on the high temperature line, and it is nearest to the tail itself, which is 2 dash, which is given as HF2 is the entropy of the vapor, liquid entropy of vapor, that is equal to entropy of the liquid itself, because it is on the liquid line. This is on 5978 kilocalorie FM. SF1, which is the point entropy here, it is the lowest temperature, that is given as 0.28 2868 degree Kelvin. And H2 dash, which is the enthalpy at the point 2, and H1 dash, which is enthalpy at the point 2, is given by the enthalpy at the vapor, enthalpy of total vapor converted at the point 2 here and at the point 1 here. This is 282 and 231 at 331 degree Kelvin. It is given and given like this. And SaH2, it is also given as 0.99 in entropy, but it is also S dash, because this 0.2 is not 0.2 is in the wet vapor region. So SF2 is equal to S2 dash is 0.918 and SF1 dash is 0.12. These both this 1 dash and 2 dash. And what will be the latent heat of vaporization as latent heat of at the latent heat of condensation, which is the latent heat from difference between enthalpy between that 0.3 and 0.2 dash. So which is given separately. So this is the HFG2, that is 248 HFG1 here. 248 and this HFG1 248 means here. Some this is the enthalpy here, and HFG2 is 177. This is the enthalpy. I mean latent heat of evaporation here, a condensation here. So what we are getting here, say we know find the dryness fraction. We have to find out the dryness fraction at the point 2 itself, and we know that the entropy at the point 1 is equal to the entropy at the point 2. S1 is equal to S2. S1 is given by SF1 is the entropy of the fluid at 1 plus X1, the percentage of vapor multiplied by the latent heat at point 1 itself, divided by the absolute temperature at point 1. So it is we found out it is 0.286 multiplied by 0.6 multiplied by 0.6. We have calculated it is given 248. We have given here, and 268 is also we have calculated. So S1 is becomes 0.8431, and similarly S2. SF2 is given as 0.5978. We have calculated here, plus X2 is unknown at this moment, multiplied by HF2, this is 117.46 divided by temperature to 298. So 0.5978 plus 0.3941 X2. As S1 is equal to S2, we have just pointed out S1 is equal to S2. So 0.8431 is equal to 0.5978 plus 0.3941 X2, or X2 is a 0.622. So what will happen here? H1. We have to find out H1 and H2 here. H1 is the HF1 is given plus X1. It is also given multiplied by the latent heat at point 1. So if you put the value, you'll get the value of H1 here. Same is H2. If HF2 is given, X2 you have calculated. HFG2 is not, it is given. So if after putting the value and making the calculation, it will become 237.83 kilojoules per kg. So as per our equation concerned, as the theoretical COP, H2 minus HF3 minus divided by H2 minus H1, we put the respective value and find out the COP as 3.5757 is the answer itself. Next, let us go to the next problem of this type of situation. I hope I can finish. Here, we have an ammonia refrigerating machine. This is the refrigerant ammonia. Fitted with an expansion valve, works with the temperature limit of minus 10 degrees centigrade and 30 degrees centigrade. Means T2 is 30 degrees centigrade, which is T2 is equal to T3 is equal to T3 30 degrees centigrade, 30 plus 273 is 300 is equal to 303 degree Kelvin. T1 is equal to T4, which is equal to minus 3 minus 10 degrees centigrade equal to minus 10 plus 273 plus 263 degree Kelvin itself. Now, as per our TS diagram and as per our pH diagram, we put this cycle operation like this. 1242 is the compression line, compression process, 2 to 3 condensation, 3 to 4 expansion, 4 to 1 evaporation. Same is the case here. So here it is evident 2 to 3 condensation process isothermal and isobaric process. 4 to 1 is the evaporation as isothermal and isobaric process where temperature and pressure are both fixed. And 1 to 2 is isentropic process where entropy or heat transfer doesn't take place. So it is divided S1 is equal to S2 here and enthalpy, but H1 is increased from H1 to H2 here. And 3 to 4 3 to 4 as we are assuming that enthalpy remains constant from here to here, but there is certain loss of entropy, and at point 4 and entropy changes from 4 to 1 itself because there is a heat transfer, means heat rejection, I mean heat acceptance from the surrounding takes place. 3 to 2 there is a change in entropy because at the condensation we are rejecting heat to the surrounding itself. So what more is given in the problem? The vapor is 95% dry at the end of isentropic compression. So what is this? 95% at the end of isentropic compression. We know this is the 1 to 2 is the isentropic compression. So at the end of 2, at point 2, it is not totally dry, but it is a mixture of wet, liquid, and vapor refrigerant. So at the point 2, it is X2 is given here. X2 is given here 0.92. That is the Guy's fraction at the point 2 itself. HF3 is the enthalpy of the wet refrigerant or fluid refrigerant, where because point 3 is lying on the wet saturation line. So we have to find out from the chart what is the enthalpy of a fluid refrigerant at temperature 203 or high temperature. It is given that liquid refrigerant is 328.302. So HF3, HF2, which is these are same here, HF3 and HF2. So these both are equal to 323.08 meter. Next comes HF1, that is enthalpy at the point 1 itself, which is in a wet region. So HF1 and HF1 is equal to HF4 because both are at the fluid state, both are on the same isothermal process because their initial enthalpy at fluid state will be the same. So that is the enthalpy given of liquid refrigerant at lower temperature. So which is 1023 enthalpy given here at liquid heat as 135.37. So both of them are equal to 135.37 kilojoule per kg. Next comes HFG2, which is the latent heat of condensation at between 2 and 3. So it is HFG2 is given as the latent heat. It is given, yes, it is at high temperature 1145. So this is given as 1145 itself. And this is the latent heat given here. Next comes HFG1, latent heat at the temperature T1 or T1 is equal to T2, which is given here 1297. This is a latent heat which is expressed from 1 to 4 itself. Next, what comes? So, then SF2, the entropy at the point 2. It is the entropy at of the fluid at the point 2 is the entropy at high temperature at in a vapor stages. So entropy at high temperature in vapor stage is the liquid entropy is given as 1.2037, and SF2 dash, which is here. The total entropy is given here as of dry saturated vapor. Total entropy is given as high temperature on dry saturated vapor line at 30 degrees is the point here S2 dash, which is given as 4.98.42. This is the S2 dash, and same is the point on the vapor saturated line on nearest to 1 dash is here given as this line 5.4770. So from pH and the pH diagram, what we have found here, X1 is dryness factor at the point 2, at the point 1, which is unknown. And we know at the point 1, entropy will be S1 here is equal to entropy of the fluid at the point in liquid state plus X1 brightness fraction multiplied by the latent heat of evaporation or enthalpy HFG at 1 divided by the absolute temperature, lower temperature T1. So which is given here, latent heat at lower temperature is given as this one. So 1297.68 divided by 273. 270 is the temperature T2 at temperature T2 is equal to T1, which is equal to 273. So this equation S1 becomes 0.5443 is plus 4.934 X1. Now, what we are supposed to do here, what we are supposed to calculate is we have to find that actual COP is a fraction or percentage of theoretical COP. So we have to find out the percentage of theoretical COP, and then from there you will find out the actual theory first. Next, so we got X1, S1, and we know S2 is the entropy of the fluid at the temperature T2, and which is given now. So S2 is given as, we put the value of SF2 from here 1.2037 and plus 0.95 is the digest fraction given at the point 2, plus the enthalpy at the temperature 2 is given as 1145.8 divided by the high temperature at the highest 303 at high temperature T2 is the 303. So this is given 4.796. Thus, if we equate this together, S1 is equal to S2, then you will find X1 is equal to 0.86 or 86% dryness fraction. Now, what happens here? Now, we have to find out H1, which is the enthalpy at the point 1. You have to first put HF1, enthalpy of the fluid at the point 1, plus dryness fraction multiplied by latent heat, put respective values and get H1 here. H2 is the enthalpy of the fluid at 2 in liquid state, plus X1 is dryness fraction multiplied by the enthalpy of latent heat or latent heat, and put the respective value already calculated and got H2 itself. Thus, theoretical SOP put the value of H1, H2, and HF3 will get the value as 0.58, 5.8. The actual COP is supposed to be 0.6 multiplied by 0.58 is 3.48 itself. Next, what we are supposed to do here, we have to calculate the kilogram of ice produced per kilogram kilowatt hour of at 0 degrees centigrade from water at 10 degrees centigrade. Latent heat of ice is given to us. So we have got the COP here, actual COP 3.48, and now what we are supposed to do, we have to find out the work spending corresponding to watt kilowatt hour, which is 13600 kilojoule per second, kilojoule in 1 hour, and actual heat extracted or refrigeration of heat produced per kilowatt hour is the heat required multiplied by the actual COP. Heat extracted multiplied by the actual COP, that is the what actual heat extracted from the kilowatt hour, which is 36.3.48, 12.528 kilojoule. And we know that heat extracted from 1 kg of water for the formation of 1 kg of ice is at 0 degrees centigrade is 1 multiplied by 4.1483 into 10 plus 335, where 10 is the temperature at temperature a difference in temperature between 10 degree minus 0 degree. If converted into Kelvin, it also remains 10 as 10 multiplied by the CP or specific heat, and plus 331 latent heat. So the amount of heat you are supposed to extract per kilojoule per kg water is 376.87 kilojoule. So the amount of ice produced is, thus we know the heat extracted here, and we know the heat required here. So the amount of ice we can produce is extracted, but heat total heat extracted divided by heat required for 1 kg of ice. So this ratio will give us the actual 33.2 kg per kilowatt hour. Per kilowatt hour is the ice produced as per our required answer itself. Still, it's not over. So let me go to the next stage. Next, theoretical vapor compression cycle with superheated vapor after compression. So what is that? It is said superheated vapor after compression. So after compression, vapor remains superheated. So what is different is in temperature entropy and pressure enthalpy diagram. We have got these two wet vapor saturation line and dry vapor saturation line here and here. So 1 to 2 is the compression process, where 1 lies on the wet vapor saturation line, dry refrigerant saturation line 1, and as it is heated up to superheated. So this is the superheated region here. This is the superheated region here, and so the point 2 is in the superheated here at the point 2. Next, what is seen? Evaporation is from 2 to 3, where it is not under isothermal or isobaric process. Isothermal, not isothermal process. but it is isomeric process, all right. But this temperature is reduced from 2 to 2 dash when it reaches to the trisaturated line, trisaturated vapor line, and from there it follows, moves horizontally to the point 3, where it intersects the liquid liquid saturated line at point 3 itself. So what we have here, next, the expansion takes place, and expansion finishes at the point 4 in wet region, and enters into the evaporator and goes to the point 1. So what we have here, the vapor side compression superheated vapor is shown TSMT diagram, which I have explained just now. At point 2 is found out with the help of degree of superheat. So we have to find the enthalpy at the point 2. We have to find out a new factor known as degree of superheat.